Go Ellsworth, brought to you by these proud community sponsors. Anita Hoffines, Dr. Mark Herzog,
Hi, this is Carol Kratzer with the Ellsworth-Kanopolis Area Chamber of Commerce, and we're here to do our Did You Know segment. And today we're here with Linda Denning with the Ellsworth County Independent Reporter. Good morning, Linda.
Hello.
Thank you for doing this with us. Linda's going to tell us a little bit about the paper and some things that you didn't know about the paper. So the paper's been in business for a long time. You want to go over the history a little bit?
Sure. Actually, we're kind of old and then not so old, because the Ellsworth County Independent Reporter is actually a combination of the Ellsworth Reporter, which was started back in the days when Ellsworth was a rip-roaring cow town, and the Independent, which was started in 1999 in competition with the Reporter. The two papers merged in 2001, and the merger created an ownership between myself, because I was the sole owner of the Independent, and Morris Multimedia of Savannah, Georgia. But for all practical purposes, the newspaper is locally owned, operated, and all the decisions are made here, and everything is very local.
Wonderful. And it's good that we still have our paper. A lot of small towns are losing that ability to have their paper. So let's go over a little bit of what you do weekly to actually give us our paper on Wednesday mornings.
You know, that's kind of a funny question from the standpoint of, for a very long time I worked for a daily, and just the newspaper business in general, you're always looking at a deadline. You never ever come into work and somebody says, we have no deadlines today. It's just a fact of life. But working for a daily, I kind of got this attitude of, you know, a weekly, one edition a week. How hard can that be? Let me tell you, like this week, we lost our hard drive Thursday and Friday. So we were operating around computer issues. And what makes it really challenging is most weeklies have smaller staffs, so you don't have the resources to tap into. And that's kind of where the best of both worlds come into play as far as my partnership with a larger company, because they have a technology division, and we can pick up the phone and say, okay, look, we're in a lot of trouble here, and they can help us like that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It is. It really is. So not only are we very fortunate, Ellsworth is very fortunate, and it's one of the things that has really allowed us to prosper, and in sometimes not ideal economic situations, but we, you know, cover city council, county commission. We're the only ones who do that, and we do it on a weekly basis, and that's all part of the process of getting the paper out. And we print our paper in Salina at the Salina Journal, and they're very good too. In fact, the daily I worked for almost 27 years was the Salina Journal, so we have a very good relationship with them. And several years ago, you probably remember, we had a fire at the paper, and before we could really get everything together, the Journal was sending people over to help us restore computers and do what we needed to do. And the fire was on Sunday. We also put out the Marquette Tribune. And we'd already put the Marquette Tribune out for that week, but everything was destroyed in the fire. So we had to put it out again. Fire Sunday, got the Tribune out on Monday, and Tuesday we sent the Ellsworth paper to press.
Amazing. The funny story about that is that was my first weekend back.
Oh.
We arrived on Saturday, saw the smoke on Sunday, so it was like,
Well, yeah, that was
horrendous.
Yeah. Well, and the odd thing was then a year later we had the VFW fire.
Almost exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, yeah, it was, we enter, we have a contest every year, a statewide KPA, Kansas Press Association contest. And it's like between the Wilson Opera House, our fire, and the VFW, we're always entering fire stories into the news category. And somebody just jokingly said, so you're not like starting these just so you can, and that was totally a joke.
It's just, yeah, but I mean, those are horrendous. And I mean, we were lucky we didn't lose the whole downtown.
Oh yeah, the firefighters were great.
I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And that's something we can't say often enough, and yeah.
Most definitely. So when you go to put a paper together, what's sort of involved in getting it to the Salina Journal so that all your stories?
Yeah, everybody writes their stories, and everything is done via computer. Everything, the pages, we have templates, and every week we transfer those templates and like page 1, and we have kind of a set form that we fill in, but it's, we try to vary the layout so that the paper looks different every year or every week. We try to, put something interesting at the top, because when you go to look at the papers at our single copy sales outlets, at the convenience stores, the grocery store, the various places, what you see is the top of that paper. And so there's got to be something that piques your interest.
Yeah.
And so that's decisions that have to be made. What are we going to put at the top of the paper this week? I tend to kind of shy away from, if there's a major crime story or a major story involving court action or legal, that can run, we put that at the top of the paper, but it's not something that is constantly there just because it's sensational. I don't really agree with doing that. We like to really feature, for example, in November we do a countywide mailing. Everybody gets it. And this year our front page story was on Anita Rodriguez. And just, she's a wonderful person. She's a great person in this community. And we really like to showcase stories like that, so people get to know their neighbors and realize what a great place this is to live. It really is.
We really do. And the good news is that the major news stories usually aren't that many, and we have so many wonderful residents that we can focus on, or events or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when does your paper go to Salina? Does it go Tuesday evening, Tuesday morning? Or?
At 3 o'clock. Our print deadline is 3 o'clock.
There's the deadlines again.
Yeah, we usually make that. Occasionally, we are a little bit late. That's usually because some coach has decided that he's not going to get his stats in on time, and that's just a hazard of the occupation. That's happened forever. And but yeah, 3 o'clock on Tuesday, and then we get it back Tuesday night. We try to get it to all of the vendor outlets Tuesday night, and then Wednesday morning it's available. And a lot of people pick it up in here because they don't want to wait to have it mailed on Thursday.
I'm one of those.
Well, good for you. Thank you.
Wednesday, my job at the chamber is to read the paper from cover to cover. And even when we lived in Arizona, we still got it. We got it every week. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, it came a week late because of the mailings, but
Yeah.
that wasn't your fault.
No.
But we always, so when we moved back, we knew what was going on and everything,
Yeah.
so we didn't miss a beat. So
Oh, that's
we really
great.
appreciate that those can be mailed to us and be able to get them out of county or out of state and still know what's going on in the hometown. I know a lot of our relatives, that's their gift every year is they get that. So that's a great thing. Another big part of your paper is advertising. And you can't do it without advertising.
Oh, no. In fact, that is our main source of revenue. A lot of people think that our main source of revenue is subscriptions, and that is not the case. That's a huge help, and we love it that people subscribe to the paper, and we really enjoy their input, but our biggest revenue source is advertising.
And that's no
what keeps
different
the
in any
doors.
paper.
Oh, no, that's the same.
Subscription and the price you pay to get your paper does
Right.
not cover what it really costs to make papers these days.
Yeah.
It's very expensive to do a paper,
Yes, it is.
and people don't realize.
And that's not a
Right.
deadline, but it is kind of a deadline in the fact
it
that,
is.
yeah.
Now, there are a lot of town things that the paper's involved in. I know that you do a lot of things with some of our events, and some of the, you want to tell us a little bit about those things?
I'd like to preface this by saying that we're no different than any other
Right.
business in town. If you're a business in a small community especially, you're going to be asked to do a lot of things.
Yeah, and we couldn't do what we do at the chamber without our area businesses.
Yeah.
We couldn't. There's no way. You
They're
know.
all very supportive of
Very,
the
very.
community. And with that said, some of the things we do over the years, my pet project has been the Drovers Project, the downtown insurance building and getting it restored. And we have been very supportive of that project. And glad to say that it's moving forward. There was a time there that we were all kind of just like, oh, we just don't have the energy to keep going, and we've revived, and we have an executive director now, Jim Gray, and so that project is moving forward. I think Jim had mentioned to you we're starting a speakers series,
Yes.
which I'm really excited about because the first speaker is going to be Lawton Nuss, this Kansas Supreme Court, and we're going to have some really good speakers. So anyway, really excited about that. We do a hot dog feed in the spring for all the young baseball players, softball players, and that's kind of a win-win situation. The families like coming to that. We have it in the park, and we also take photos of all the teams. And actually, it helps us out because we don't have to chase them down during the summer. So
Exactly,
we
trying
get
to
them
get
all
everybody
at once.
together.
We've also, last year, for the first time, we started an all-academic banquet for the top kids, top 10% of the kids in about a dozen school districts. We do that in partnership with the Lincoln paper. And last year, the banquet was in Chapman. And because Chapman volunteered to do it, and so it was a really great event, and we're really hoping to maybe grow that a little bit more because we produce a basketball magazine, Kansas Hardwood, again in partnership with the Lincoln paper, but it's a statewide preseason high school basketball magazine. And because we were devoting so many resources to sports, we also wanted to do something on the academic side.
Wonderful.
And so our yearly banquet is the way of doing that. We also do a print product which accompanies that. We interview the kids. We talk to them about what their high school career was like. We talk to them about advice they might have for incoming freshmen. And I had somebody write to me last year after we did the print edition, and she said, "I love this." She said, "This is so great. It's like the older kids are speaking to the younger kids."
Which is what we need.
Yeah, and that really pleased me.
When I was teaching, I always had my kids at the end of the year write a letter to the next class, telling them what they needed to know about their teacher, what they needed to know about the grade. And it gives them time to reflect on the good and the bad and what they learned, and share it with someone else. And I think that's so important.
Yeah.
So, wonderful. What are some of the other things that the paper does? We've talked about the Hardwoods magazine. We've talked about the paper. But there's other things that the paper can do for our community, or does for our community. Some printing things and things like that people might not know about.
We do. We do not have a press here. We gave that up. Well, actually, when we started the Independent, we've not had a press since about '99. But we do have a partnership with a company that we can do any kind of printing. We also do something that we've started doing recently is direct mail. And it's really simple for the person who wants to do a direct mail project. They just give us the zip codes and we take it from there, because we did this last November, the city had a sales tax issue, the school district had a bond issue. We did direct mail pieces for both of those projects. And we also do, Bill Beckmeyer is our graphic designer, and he's very good. And he's done logos for companies. And, if somebody wants us to do something, if they have some need that's related to advertising or printing, we can probably figure out a way to get
Bill's
it done.
amazing.
Yeah.
But I know you did direct mail for us for the fireworks. You've done it now 2 years in a row for Cowtown Days,
Right.
so that we can get that information out. Because I know I spend dollars in the paper and putting it in papers around the area, and you've done some wonderful package deals for me around the area. But not everybody reads the paper, not everybody gets the paper, unfortunately.
Right.
And so you got to get it to them somehow, because it's very.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how often Monday after fireworks somebody calls and says, "When are fireworks?" It's like, well, they were Saturday, but
Next year.
sorry. But so anything else you want us to know about the paper?
Just what a great staff we have. I'll get calls sometimes. This has been a number of months ago, but somebody was really upset with me because we missed a Sunday event. And I understand that people expect the paper to be everywhere, and we should be probably in a perfect world, but the reality is my staff has families too, and they're all very dedicated. They all work crazy hours. The story I tell to illustrate that is we cover 3 high schools. We cover Central Plains, Wilson, and Ellsworth. Because I guess that's one of the things we haven't talked about. We're a county paper, and Ellsworth is our centerpiece, our main reason for being. But there are other towns in Ellsworth County, and we want them to have coverage too. So anyway, having said that, 3 high schools we cover, and if someone would call me and complain about, well, the sports editor was at that school and not at this school, I would say, well, he can't be in two places at the same time, that there was a reason he was there instead of here. Mark McCoy is our sports editor, and he has taught me you can be three places at the same time. I don't know how he does it, but he manages to cover, it's usually two games, actually two places at the same time, but he will cover like the first half of one game, use the half to
Run
make
over,
it to the other game, and he's just incredibly dedicated, and he wants these kids to get recognition. And so anyway, that's something I really want to stress, is that the staff does everything it can to give everybody the
What they want.
recognition they deserve.
They do an amazing job. And it's an amazing paper. It really is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being brave enough to keep it going here for us. Because, I mean, when you had the fire, you could have just closed the doors and gone on. But we really appreciate it that you kept going and continue to go.
Well, and yeah, you had. It's really funny because after the fire, I had several people say, "Oh, why did you even? You wouldn't have had to put out an edition." And it never occurred to anybody here that we wouldn't put an edition out that week. Somehow, I mean, the biggest story we've had in how many years, and we're not going to put out an edition? Don't think so. So anyway, yeah.
So we really appreciate you, and thank you very much for being here.
Well,
and
thank
for
you.
sharing with us all the stuff that people don't know about the paper.
Well, we're very glad to be here. Ellsworth's a great community.
It is a great community. And this is Carol Kratzer with the Ellsworth-Kanopolis Area Chamber of Commerce, and this is your Did You Know? And we thank Linda Denny very much with the Ellsworth County Independent Reporter.
Go Ellsworth, brought to you by these proud community sponsors. Anita Hoffines, Dr. Mark Herzog,